So I'm headed up to the storage facility today, and it's like moving as a never-ending story. Today, I'm looking for my pillow because my neck's killing me. I figured while I'm up here, I might as well haul a few things back to the other storage unit, and maybe by the time I get done with all these trips back and forth looking for things, I'll have everything moved. It seems like the moving is a never-ending story. Like I said, it's like every day almost we're taking something to storage, bringing something back to storage. Right now we've got all of our stuff in like 3 different places. We have the house here. After we moved, we have storage unit up in Punta Gorda, which is like 30-40 minutes north of here, because after the storm, like all these storage units were sold out, and the ones and half of them were flooded or storm damaged. I just couldn't find anything, so I had to go all the way up there to get a storage unit. I finally was able to get a storage unit here in Fort Myers, but I haven't gotten everything moved down yet because we have to move out of the location we're in for the office right now and put our stuff in storage for about 6 weeks until we can get possession of the new office February 1st. And it's just a challenge. It's like Groundhog Day. It's like moving every day right now, it seems like. Anyway, so let's talk about customer service a little bit. Something that over the past week or so, about the past 8 or 10 days, I've been dealing with a company that I'm working with, and in this case, I'm the customer. And this company makes software. They make they're the part I'm working on now is our mobile app for our site, and they have an offering, and they have a service that I feel like I paid a lot of money for and didn't get what I'm not getting what I paid for, according to their marketing materials. So, I made a post last night about customer service on my Facebook page. First, I want to thank you for your comments on that post, because I was just sharing my thoughts of how customer service should be run and the principles that come to mind when I think about those things. And you guys had commented, all your comments were phenomenal. I wasn't expecting that because I was so focused on the pointed post that I was making towards this company. And so it really humbled me, and I really appreciate what you guys had to say, and not realizing that I was talking about one thing when it really reflected the values and customer service that we had at our former companies and things that I've always done. And when I went, I looked at it as a thing of taking pride in what you do, no matter who you are or what you do. In my life, I've always not wanted someone to be able to come back on me, do my job well. And if something came back on me that I didn't do right or I didn't do it thoroughly, it was because I simply made a mistake, or it wasn't a conscious lack of effort or anything like that. It was I just never wanted that stigma when it comes to how someone perceives me and what I do. And this all started back in when I was like 18. I got my first job out of high school. It was at a Circuit City, if you remember those. I think everybody in my age group does. And it was in Barboursville, West Virginia, down near Huntington, a really tiny store. It's a really small store. The store was so small that it's now a Chinese buffet restaurant. But I went to work there, 18, was hired by my manager, Mark. He was the store manager, took a chance on me. Worked out well for both of us, I think. And he was a great manager, but he also provided great customer service. Circuit City, it was interesting. They had this phone number you could call called a cool line, not a hotline, a cool line. And if a customer really had a problem, they would call the cool line and they'd make sure the customer was taken care of. And I would watch Mark sometimes handle customers. I was in the warehouse and service department, so I was one of the people and one of the main people when someone brought something in to be looked at or repaired, that I was the one that greeted the customer, talked to them about their issue, took whatever it was, TV, VCR, whatever, took it in the back, assessed the problem, if needed, wrote it up for service or whatever. I had 2 years of electronics in vocational school and high school before I got my degree, so I could do more than what most people could. And sometimes I could fix the item and send them on their way with it, and they were happy, ecstatic at that. Most of the time, if it needed repair, it had to go to the service center, which ironically was in Louisville, Kentucky at the time. And then I ended up living there for like 12 years. But anyway, the gist of that was that I dealt with a lot of customers and a lot of angry customers, and learned how to handle those situations and how to work through them, and always made an effort to make sure the customer was happy when they left. I remember one particular interaction where Mark, this lady came in. I think she had a VCR or something that was in multiple times for repair. Sometimes you had lemons, just like cars or anything else. And she asked for the manager, and I watched Mark at a distance handle this situation, and she was very irate. I watched Mark listen to her, let her get everything out. I watched the expressions on his face, and I learned a lot. I watched him, how he handled that situation, and I always did that with other people. Anybody that was better than me at something, I always tried to observe, pay attention, and learn from it. How do they do that? I was always that curious. And it just stemmed, it just grew from there. I was always that way. When I went into IT and I spent a lot of time at people's desks training them how to use software and things, I was always very patient, always able to work through problems with them. If they had a really bad complaint or issue or whatever, then I just, years and years of doing that is what give me that mindset. And last week I was started working on this app again. This is the mobile app for Apple and Android both. And if I back up a little bit, I purchased this several weeks ago, a couple of months ago. It takes time to go through the project, to get it implemented and get it to a point where you can at least test the app on your device. And I purchased this service that they offered called Done For You. And when you look at the marketing material and you even watch the video that the CEO put out, they say, we do it for you. We do it all. They say, you've got to answer some questions. They don't know about your business, so you have to provide some information, fill in the blank type stuff. There's certain things with Apple and Google you have to do yourself to get it prepared. But the video clearly says they handle everything else for you. And that's what's called Done For You. So I start working on this. We're reaching a point. We actually got to a point where we could test the application. And then Hurricane Ian hit, put a lot of things on hold for us. We had to move. We moved in the middle of that after the storm. There's just a lot of things that put things on hold for, like a month for me. And in that time, you kind of forget those little details and stuff of what you did. So I returned to it. I'm kind of like, okay, well, where was I anyway in this process? And it reached a point where basically their staff through the project manager reached a certain point, and I got a message that basically said, this part's over with. If you need help from here on out, here's some checklists, and here's how you submit a support ticket. That was it. At that point, my app was not published. It wasn't in the stores, and I'm like, okay. And so last week I pick up, and try to take it from there. And there was a problem that was just giving me an unknown error. I submit a support ticket. It takes a couple of days to get a response. That's slow. They have slow support right now when it comes to that. I'll knock them a little bit on that. But that error, there was nothing in their knowledge base, no Google searches, nothing. I could find nothing on it. So, what am I thinking? I've done something wrong, right? I've messed this up. So I spend a couple of days troubleshooting, and each time I would troubleshoot, try to generate a new build of the app, it would fail, but it took 30 to 60 minutes every time I tried. This is a time-consuming process. It wasn't like I could change a setting, click a button, it failed. Change the settings, save it, generate a build, go get a cup of coffee or whatever, and come back and see it failed an hour later. So frustration started to grow, and I started to ask myself, why am I doing this? So their support tells me that's not included in what you paid for. Here's the link that describes the scope of the project that we do for what you paid for and all this. And I'm getting more and more frustrated. And I go back, I look at the marketing materials, I watch, and here's a screenshot for one of the marketing materials. You read this statement, you tell me what it says. Watch the video that the CEO put out very carefully. I even took a screen recording of it, so I'll have it if I ever need it, because it clearly states, you answer some questions, we do everything else for you. And he says, so you can save time and focus on your business. So over several days' time, I can't get anywhere with it. Can't get anything out of support. I'm stuck. And started to do some research, started to ask around. I joined some Facebook groups that are unofficial for them, joined their official group, and I posted my issue in there. They immediately deleted my post and then locked my profile down so that I couldn't post. And I was just furious after that because I had been trying to get someone's attention for quite some time. I had a call with their customer success team, a nice gentleman in the UK, very nice guy. We had a great conversation, and it seemed to go very well. I thought after that point that I would probably get someone assigned to my situation and see it through and take care of it. Didn't, it was still kind of broken communications and not really responsive. After that, he told me to update the ticket and then update the ticket I had with him and let him know that I updated the support ticket. Did all that. I couldn't get anywhere. Couldn't get this error. And it just kept growing frustration. I kept coming back to, what did I pay for? I paid for them to do it all for me. And really, probably reached, I think I kind of just went ballistic a little bit over, looked up their CEO on Twitter. And earlier this year, he had tweeted about getting on an airplane in Dubai or Emirates or somewhere over there, and that he was upset because he was a platinum member and they were letting the coach people board before him, and talking about how poor their customer service was. And in my opinion, if you don't feel like your company can be a measuring stick for customer service for other companies, you shouldn't be complaining about other companies' customer service if you run a company. I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. And so I replied to his tweets. I sent him emails. I sent the CTO, they're both co-founders, CEO and CTO are co-founders, sent them both messages on LinkedIn and Facebook trying to get someone's attention and get them to fix this, And, they finally tell me that the problem was on their end that weekend with the error that I was getting, but they didn't have anything published for a status or, I was just frustrated. I couldn't say the word frustrating enough probably. And really that post, like I said, that post on Facebook was pointed at them to try to get them to understand why I'm so frustrated. This is the way I look at it. And I expect others to provide me with this level of customer service that I would provide to anyone else. Treat others as you would want to be treated, that old thing. And finally started working with a guy that's one of the admins of the Facebook group. He's been a tremendous help. I've still, he told me they're going to send the marketing materials back to marketing and talk to the management team about it. And of course, there's no real admission of, oh, you're right, this is, we did this wrong, whatever. I just basically told him, you over-marketed and oversold a service that you cannot provide. And that was just a very frustrating experience. I think we're very close now. The iOS and Google version, Android versions of the app will be available very soon now. We're going to get through and work out some of those issues. I admittedly, I broke a couple some minor things in the setup trying to resolve that issue when, it comes back to they didn't do it for me, like they said. And I kept coming back to that. I kept coming back to, why am I dealing with this at all? Well, I'm dealing with it because I want my app published. I want it done. and I can't get them to do it for me. So I'm still trying to get through this. Um, there's some clarity now on my side of a couple settings that I didn't quite understand. That's fine. It wasn't for not trying, I can tell you that. But hopefully they'll get back to me with, I don't just want my app published. I would love for them to call me up and say, you're right. Our marketing materials were very misleading. Here's a credit for 6 months of our service for your troubles or something. I mean, come on. But more than anything, I would like to see them correct those issues that they have, so that other people will use the platform, other people will buy the app, and they will continue to grow as a company and be stable for us as a vendor, because now they are one of our vendors. They're a big vendor. I'm going to be paying them quite a bit of money every year to do this work for us, and that's the best thing I can hope for, I think. Would it be nice to have a credit to compensate me for my time and frustration? Yeah, it would be. If I was in that position, honestly, because I bought the app on the premise that the way they sold it to me, it was a few $1,000s, and I paid them a monthly fee on top of this. That if they called me up and said, look, we're going to give you a 3-month or a 6-month credit or a year credit or whatever it's going to be to make up for it, I would be ecstatic at that, because to me, that is taking care of the customer. That's what I would do in that situation, to make sure the customer feels like they got what they were supposed to get, which is what they're saying I'm getting, but also I'm getting what something to compensate me for what I thought I was buying. And hopefully they'll get that together and do something. I'm not hopeful to hear from the management team as far as the CEO and CTO, because I haven't heard from them yet. And you can't tag them on Facebook. You can't leave reviews on their business website, or business Facebook page. And I told the gentleman on Facebook that I'm working with that, in my opinion, if you have to hide like that and not allow transparent reviews, then you're probably not doing what you should be doing. You should be striving to make sure that anyone who leaves a review, it should be a 5-star review. And if they leave a negative review, that's your opportunity to correct the situation, make them a happy customer, and then be able to say, and I've done this many times before, not many, but I've done this several times in the past, where I said, hey, are you happy? Did we take care of you? And they say yes. And I say, would you consider editing your review? And they did it every time, because they felt like they had a good personal connection and a relationship established with me or someone else that handled the situation, took care of it. And if you're not able to provide and allow those transparent reviews and use those as opportunities to make your company better, then I would question the way you're running a company. I just look at it that way. Reviews are sometimes hard to look at on products like on Amazon and different things, because a lot of times those reviews are put up out of frustration or misuse of a product, or those kind of things. And so you really have to sort through and be careful with them, and make purchases on reviews. You got to be real careful. Give you an example. I have this TV right here. That sound bar on the TV, I had purchased the brand of sound bar that matched the TV when we first moved in here, and Tammy was complaining that she couldn't hear it very well. That she has a little bit hearing issue in one ear or something, and we were sitting here watching movies, and she just couldn't hear the dialogue real strong, so she'd have to turn it up real loud. And then the next time she'd come in, she'd turn it on, and that startup sound for Hulu would just be crazy loud. So I went out to Amazon reviews, found the item, went to the reviews. So the strategy I use is I actually went to the negative reviews, and almost all those negative reviews were saying the exact same thing about the experience that we were having. So got online, ordered a different brand, and it fixed the problem. So you really have to watch those reviews carefully sometimes when it comes to those types of reviews. But if you're not if you're not able to let people leave, a couple sentences or a few sentences or a paragraph and give you a transparent review of what they honestly thought, in every case, that should be either a 4 or 5 star review, or you should be using it as an opportunity to correct the problem that you have that made them an unhappy customer. Hopefully, we're on a path to resolution on this now. But like I said, I told the gentleman on Facebook that I said, I think that, this is where it started at. This frustration level was that your services were down. I didn't know it, couldn't get an answer. And then trying to, kind of trudge through it myself, the frustration started to mount where I was asking myself, why am I even dealing with this? And there were other little shortfalls of things that I shared with them. During the testing phase, for example, the forgot password link on the app didn't work. And it was because of a plugin on my website that had a little conflict. But they should have QA'd that and caught it ahead of time. I should not have had to deal with that, in my opinion, based on what I paid for. But, that was just my thoughts. But again, I really appreciate what you guys had to say about the customer service that we used to provide. You can believe when we get this new company going, we'll be providing the same type of customer service, if not better. It's just something that, that to me, that's one of the best marketing tools you can have, is to have all happy customers and let word of mouth spread. When people, it used to be the rule of thumb was that when you had a good experience with something, you would tell 5 people. If you had a bad experience, you would tell about 25 people. Well, now we live in a different time. That was 34 years ago when I worked at Circuit City. Now we live in a different time where if someone has a bad experience, they might tell thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people on social media. And that's the world we live in. And I had that experience as well with a mattress firm a few years ago. We bought our mattress when we bought our house 3 years ago, and they said you can swap this mattress out and get a different one. And so we didn't like the mattress. I went back in the store and I asked the guy, I said, is this a one-time thing or what? And he said, yep, you get one chance, And then so we chose the mattress, had it delivered, and it was worse than the first one. I mean, it was a firm mattress, and in the store it was labeled as medium, not firm. When I looked at the tag on the mattress, it says firm, and it was without a doubt a firm mattress. So they argued with me and said, well, no, we put our own ratings on it. So, my question was, so you're telling me you choose to change the manufacturer's label without telling me? And I had to really fight with him to get that back. I ended up talking to a district manager, and I explained to him, I said, look, I have, close to 100,000 followers on YouTube. But what you don't know is you don't know that I don't have 15 million followers. And what does it do to your company if I were to go on social media and say something about this experience? And that was, I told the guy, I said, that's the reality of the world we live in. And of course, he took care of the situation and made me a happy customer. And, as a matter of fact, we were so happy. That was the biggest item we moved here from Louisville, was our mattress. We had our king size mattress delivered and brought a new bed to put up in our bedroom. And that really actually says something, now that I think about it, about the guy taking care of us, is that we made that effort to keep that mattress. And that was the only large object we brought down here. We got rid of everything else we owned that was large at all, other than our cars. That looking back on that really, stands out to me on, the way that they took care of me. And again, I really appreciate your guys' comments on that post last night. It was really good. I was not expecting that, because I was so focused on making a pointed post at the other company, and hopefully everything will work out and I'll be able to have a long-lasting relationship with these folks because I really do like the product. I like the app. I like the way it works. My tools, like my text tools on my website, like the monogram tools and things, they render beautifully in the app. So you can use them. Now you do have to have internet connectivity. You can't work offline with it, but you're on a mobile device most of the time. You have internet. So that said, I'll wrap this one up. But thanks for listening to me ramble a little bit about customer service, and I'll bring you some more updates when they're available and when they're appropriate. But things are moving along, and we're going to take a little trip and time for ourselves here pretty soon. Tammy and I are going out to Vegas for a few days in a couple weeks to celebrate her birthday and enjoy some time together. And I look forward to getting back and spending some time with the kids over Christmas, and then preparing for the big move in and the big launch. Hopefully sometime in February. We move in, we get possession February 1st. I'm going to try to do as much as I can to have as many things ready as possible so that when we move in, hopefully we'll be able to launch fairly quickly after that. Now, what's fairly quickly? I don't know, a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, maybe a month. I don't know. Just depends on what comes up during that process. But I don't anticipate too many issues with that, and should be able to get off the ground. Let's see. Thought it was in that suitcase, but it's not. And everything's labeled except for that one. Let's see what's in here. There's a blanket. Oh no, it's a pillow. Oh, my pillow.